R-1522. The record should reflect that Mr. Holmes is present with his attorneys and the prosecutors are present as well. We are outside the presence of the jury. Just a thought. I know that I've been giving the jury a couple of instructions that say that certain evidence has been admitted for a limited purpose, and specifically only as it relates to the issues raised by the not guilty by reason of insanity plea. And I wondered if it would make sense to specify for them, not every time, but one time, that when I say issues raised by the defendant's plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, I am referring to issues related to two questions. One, whether the defendant was so diseased or defective in mind at the time of the commission of the act as to be incapable of distinguishing right from wrong with respect to that act, and the word wrong refers to moral wrong as measured by societal standards of morality. And two, whether the defendant suffered from a condition of mind caused by a mental disease or defect that rendered him incapable of forming a culpable mental state that is an element of a crime charged. And as relevant here, there are two culpable mental states that are elements of the crimes charged after deliberation and with intent and knowingly. Do the parties have any thoughts on that, Mr. Brockler?
I don't, but it sounds good.
All right, Mr. King?
Judge, I don't have a specific objection to that procedure. I would reiterate, though, that our position still is and remains that the limiting instruction is in and of itself insufficient to cure the problem. But we understand the court's ruling on that, and so I have no objection to the court informing the jury of that.
I'm not sure what that comment meant. If you're referring to any previous motions that you've made that I've ruled on, you're not waiving anything.
That's what I'm referring to.
Okay,
That's
all right, great. All right, let's bring them in, please.
Your Honor, I believe there's just under 2 hours left on this particular clip. It might take us up to 3 o'clock and then break. The whole thing in 2 hours.
It should be a little less than 2 hours, right? Let's push through and see if we can get, if we can watch the whole thing. And I'll let the jurors know that we're going to do that.
Limiting instructions, too, Your Honor, when you can.
We will. Please be seated, everyone. The record should reflect that the jury has returned. Welcome back, folks. I hope you had a good lunch. I don't know if you got a chance to go out, but it's a beautiful day out there. I think it's supposed to be up to 90 today. And also, I think the Broncos might be having OTAs or something, so I don't know if you are able to catch any of that. I'm not suggesting that anybody bring binoculars, no. All right, before we proceed, folks, as you know, at the end of the morning session, the prosecution was in the middle of playing Exhibit P-TR-1008. And what we're going to do is try to play the rest of it. It's almost 2 hours long, but I think I would like to push through and see if we can get it to the end before we take our afternoon break. Before we do that, though, I want to give you the limiting instruction that I've been giving you with respect to the video recording, just to remind you that the defendant's statements and the video recording have been admitted only for a limited purpose. You may consider the defendant's statements and this video recording only as to the issues raised by his plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. You shall not consider them for any other purpose. Dr. Reed's statements and this video recording may only be considered for the limited purpose of allowing you to evaluate the reliability of his examination and to provide context to the statements made in the video recording by the defendant. You shall not consider any statements made by Dr. Reed and the video recording for the truth of the content of the statements or for any other purpose. I have just given you a limiting instruction that included reference to issues raised by the defendant's plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. And I've been giving you a couple of instructions that mention that phrase. And so let me just elaborate on that at this time. When I refer to issues raised by the defendant's plea of not guilty by reason of insanity, I mean issues that are related to two questions. One, whether the defendant was so diseased or defective in mind at the time of the commission of the act as to be incapable of distinguishing right from wrong with respect to that act. And by the way, the word wrong there refers to moral wrong as measured by societal standards of morality. And number two, whether the defendant suffered from a condition of mind caused by a mental disease or defect that rendered him incapable of forming a culpable mental state that is an element of a crime charged. And as you know, there are two culpable mental states that are elements of the crimes charged in this case: after deliberation and with intent, and knowingly. With that explanation, we'll proceed. Did everybody understand that instruction that I just gave you, and everybody saying yes and nodding their head? Great. Okay, we'll proceed. Mr. Brockler, if you want to resume the publishing of People's Exhibit P-TR-1008. All right, and I will dim the lights.
At what point did you call the behavioral health hotline or the hotline of some kind?
Like halfway through gearing up.
From the car then?
Yeah.
Okay. So that was something that happened in the car. If you can, I'd like to pretty much hear everything. I want to hear the whole story.
I called him, but I couldn't hear anybody on the other line.
Okay. What led you to make that call?
Just one last chance to see if I should turn back or not.
How big was the part of you that was hoping for that last chance?
It was overruled by completing the...
And we know that it was overruled. It was. But how big was it to be overruled?
Not very big.
Enough to make you dial the phone.
Yeah.
Was the number already in your phone? How did you?
Yeah, I saved it in my phone.
Okay. You'd saved it from a previous visit or a sign on the wall at the office, or how did you have that number?
The website.
May I ask when you went to the website and got the number?
I don't remember. It was before that day, though.
Okay. You think it was weeks before that day, or within the week?
Maybe within a week.
If you remember, why did you go to that website?
To get that number.
And the website is the website for?
Student mental health.
Okay. Were you thinking anything else as you went to the website other than, I'd like to have the number in my phone?
No.
Were you thinking why you might want to have the number in your phone?
In case I wanted to stop the process.
Okay. Had you ever dialed that number before?
No.
And what happened when you dialed it?
I just didn't hear anything.
Did you hear the phone ringing at the other end?
No.
Really? It was just dead, or I don't understand.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything for 9 seconds, and then it hung up.
Then you hung up, or they hung up, or it hung up?
It hung up. I'm not sure.
So you're quite sure you dialed.
Yes.
You're quite sure that the number was accurate,
Yes.
and the phone dialed it. Did you dial it, or did the phone dial it?
It was just dialing a contact number.
Okay, so all you had to do was press it, and whatever number was the contact number got accurately dialed.
Yes.
Okay. As far as you know, your reception was fine in the middle of town,
Right.
and you didn't hear any answer, electronic or personal or otherwise, on the other end.
No.
And you said 9 seconds. Did you kind of count them off, or did you show on the phone how long it was?
It said like call ended after 9 seconds.
I'm sorry?
It said call ended after 9 seconds.
Did you try to redial?
No.
Looking back, are you sure that was the right number?
Yeah.
What do you think would have happened if somebody had answered?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I might have talked to him.
What might you have said?
Told them the situation.
I'm sorry?
Told them the situation.
So you might have told them where you were and what was going on?
Yeah.
What do you think might have happened then?
They would have tried to convince me not to.
Okay. What might they have said?
I don't know.
Do you think they would have been successful?
No, I think it would have been overruled again.
But some part of you punched in the numbers and waited 9 seconds for them to answer.
Right.
Okay. You remember what you thought or felt or when nobody answered?
Then shortly after, I thought the FBI would stop me.
With regard to how you felt when you pressed end on the phone,
Right.
What was going through your mind then?
Just that it was really going to happen.
Okay. You say that as if that was a time when it hit home that it was really going to happen.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between that feeling of it's really going to happen and the feeling when you went out of your apartment and got in the car?
There was still a chance it wouldn't when I was in my car.
So up to that moment, I'm trying not to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like
Still
you
skeptical.
were putting on the gear,
Right.
but it might not happen.
Right.
Was there, and the phone call ends, and once again, what was your thought when the phone call ended?
I'm really going to do this.
Then you mentioned a thought after that about the FBI stopping you.
Right.
Tell me about that thought.
Well, once I got outside and was in the light, I thought the FBI would then come in and arrest me.
Once you got outside the car in your gear
Yeah.
and were in the lights, you said.
Yeah.
Okay. Did Did you do that quickly and move quickly into the theater, or did you stand there a while?
There was kind of like a corridor in the back. So I went down that, and then you could also go to the side a little bit and be out of sight of the back parking,
Still outside the building?
still outside the building.
So about how long were you outside your car and outside the building in your gear?
Maybe 2 minutes.
Really? That long?
I don't know if that's long or not.
Okay. And I'm not saying that I don't believe you or that that's not accurate, but that's your memory of about how long it was?
It could have been a minute. I don't know.
If you were to have gotten out of your car and walked to the door and entered it, roughly how long would that have taken?
15 seconds.
So substantially, it sounds like you're saying, you took substantially more time to re-enter the theater than was necessary. Is that your memory?
Yes, I was kind of in the alcove a little bit.
Tell me about that period of time. What were you doing? What was going on?
I was standing there on the outside, and I could see in through the crack of the door.
Okay. Are you in the light at that point or not in the light?
I'm in the light, but it's shielded from the back parking lot.
And what is the feeling or the purpose or if I were watching you from afar or on a video or something, what would I be seeing? What would I be thinking is going on?
What's he waiting for, I guess? I don't know.
So let me ask you, what were you waiting for?
I don't know why I waited.
I can think of waiting strategically to be sure it was clear, or waiting hoping someone would stop you, or waiting to be sure your gear was on right, or reasons like that. Do any of those ring a bell or not?
Well, I dropped a tear gas canister, and I had to look for that, and I couldn't find it.
Oh, you couldn't find it? Did it stay outside?
I don't know. It was when I was getting out of the door of the car. So it kind of fell, and I don't know where it fell.
So you didn't recover it before you went back in?
I had two, so I wound up just using the one I had.
Okay. Did you spend some time, looking for it?
Maybe 30 seconds.
How'd you feel when something dropped that sounds like an unexpected thing happening? What thoughts or feelings did that bring up as you were trying to carry out the mission?
It didn't bring up any feelings. Just that I needed to find it.
And you needed to find it because?
For crowd control.
No sense of panic or
No.
something's gone wrong?
No, nothing.
Okay, all right. Thank you. You went out the door. How'd you get back in? Those doors generally lock from the inside.
I had looked all around for a device that would go onto the door and hold it open with as minimal amount of space open as possible. So I wound up buying picnic tablecloth clamps
Oh, the little clips that fit on the...
that hold the tablecloth to a table.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine, like turning a table sideways, then it looks like a door. And you can put it on the door and it won't close all the way, but be open just a very little bit.
Was there a handle on the outside of the door so you could grab the door to open it, or how did that work?
There was the width of the door, so
Okay, it kept the door from even, it didn't stop the bolts from coming through, but it kept the door from closing into the jam.
right.
Okay. I'm with- So you're going back inside, and what all are you carrying?
A shotgun, and the AR-15 was on a sling around me in front, and the handgun was in my belt, in one of the pouches where there was a bunch of handgun magazines.
One handgun?
Yeah, I'd left the other one in the passenger door.
Okay. Any particular reason you left it in the passenger door?
That's where I was changing, gearing up.
Did you forget it there or leave it there on purpose?
Leave it there on purpose,
And why?
because it would have been extra weight to carry.
Okay. Did you have the gas mask on at that point?
I had the gas mask on in the car.
In the car? Okay. And the helmet?
Yep.
Walk me through, you go in through the outer door, then what happens, and what do you see, what do you hear, what do you smell?
First, I opened the tear gas canister while I was still outside the door, and it made a hissing sound. And then I went inside and tossed it over on the right side of the theater.
As you walk up from the outside door, is there any other door between you and the audience? Or
No, there's
curtain?
only that one door.
Is there any curtain or anything like that?
It's set at an angle so that the whole audience can't see you, but they can still see you when you enter the door.
Okay. How did it feel to be really doing it?
Then it was an autopilot.
Exhilaration or
No, none of that.
caution or
No.
sensitivity to what's around you?
Was looking at what's around me.
Okay. Pretty aware of what was around you, or?
Yeah, I could see people trying to leave and sitting down and under their seats.
Actually, I'm thinking right now still about going in from the door. The canister's been opened.
Right.
At that point, are you on autopilot or not yet?
At that point, I'm on autopilot.
Okay. Some people who are in experiences like that, for one reason or another, are very sensitive to what's going on around them, very aware of little things and big things.
No, I wasn't like that.
Wasn't like that.
No.
How about vision? How well could you see at that point going in from the door?
I couldn't see very well at all
Because?
because there were scratches in the gas mask, and it was brighter outside than it was inside.
Okay. Then you come around the curtain or around whatever the partition is and toss the canister.
Yeah.
Walk me through from there.
Then I raised the shotgun and saw that people were getting up in the back left corner. So I shot up that direction. And then I don't remember any of the other shots of the shotgun.
Any idea why those people were getting up in the back left corner?
Well, they could see me all decked out with my guns and stuff.
Okay. So you shot in that direction. Do you know whether you hit anything?
I heard a scream.
You heard a scream?
Yeah.
Okay. What happened next?
And I shot all my shotgun rounds and tossed it on the floor.
Slow down a little because I want to kind of each step, if you don't mind. You shot how many times toward the folks on the upper left?
I think the shotgun held 5 or 6 shells. So I shot all 6 of them.
Emptied in that direction, okay. Go ahead, please.
I didn't know what just in the direction of the people. I don't remember after the back corner where I fired them.
Okay.
But then I threw the gun down and switched to the AR-15. And I don't remember where I shot those ones either, except for like 2 people who tried to run away, and I shot like 3 shots at them.
There were many more people in the theater than the 2 who were trying to run away.
Right.
Did their running away prompt you to shoot them?
It made me kind of focus on them or divert my attention to them, because I can't have everybody running away from the scene.
Yeah. Tell me what you mean. I can't have everybody running away.
Well, because then I'm kind of out of control of the situation.
Okay. While you were firing, did anybody get out while you were firing?
Yeah, the 2 people who ran away, and then afterwards, 4 people, I think, carried a guy out, and they got out the back exit, the emergency exit.
Okay. So they came out the exit you came in?
Yeah.
And I think we'll get to them in a minute. So you're firing the AR now.
Yeah.
And tell me how you fire an AR with the gas mask on.
You put it up to your shoulder and start shooting.
Can you sight down the barrel with the gas mask on?
I had a scope on it, but I didn't use it to sight. I just shot randomly.
In the direction of people, but randomly would apply.
Randomly towards the people.
Okay. At least some of the time you were trying to shoot specific people.
Right, so those 2 people who ran were the specific people. And then there was one other guy, which they carried out, who was a specific person I shot at.
Do you recall shooting anyone who you knew was already hit?
No, because I couldn't tell who was hit or not. You can't see.
Okay. Did you see anyone fall from being hit?
No.
Really?
They got down kind of behind the seats pretty fast.
Okay. You didn't see anyone actually hit by bullets or shells or shot?
I saw the one wounded guy they carried out kind of flop, but I didn't see where I hit him, or that was the only one.
Did you see the hit with anybody?
What do you mean by
The fellow being carried out, you knew he had been hit.
right?
Did you see it when he was hit?
I determined that he was hit because he flopped.
Was there any point at which you saw the hit on anybody?
No, I don't think so.
Do you remember seeing the hit on anything? Did you hit a wall, hit a seat?
No.
Okay. How about the sound? What did all that sound like?
Well, I'd had my music in to drown out sounds, and I guess I didn't hear much.
How high was the music turned up?
To its full volume.
Full volume. So what could you hear besides the music?
I don't remember hearing the gunshots.
Okay. And you don't recall what the music was, but just that it was a
Well,
techno,
just that it was playing.
and it was techno?
Yeah.
You don't recall hearing the sound of the guns, the report from the guns?
No. Although I could when I was out on the range with my music playing. And
So on the range, you used the buds as well?
I did the music thing too, yeah.
How did you do that with the noise cancellation headphones?
I didn't use them all the time. I used my wireless headphones. for some of the other time.
What do you make of the fact that you don't recall hearing the reports, the shooting sounds in the theater, even though they were at least as loud?
I think it was chaotic, kind of a chaotic situation.
Do you think you heard them and don't remember hearing them?
I think I heard them, but I don't recall
Okay.
the gunshots.
Anything else that you heard besides the music?
No.
You said a minute ago that you heard the people up in the far
I
end
heard the
scream.
one person scream at the beginning, and that was that. I didn't hear anything else.
Okay. Did the music stop at any point, or did it keep going the whole time?
It was set to play the whole time. I don't know if it did or not, because I wasn't really hearing the music either.
Tell me about that. You weren't really hearing the music either.
Yeah, I don't remember the music.
So even if it had paused or was between beats or between songs, you don't remember things being heard in the course of what happened.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Other senses, did you smell anything? Even with the
No,
gas
I had
mask?
a gas mask.
There are certain smells you can smell through the gas mask.
I didn't smell any of them.
Could you smell the
Tear gas.
riot gas? Yeah.
No.
Okay. Any physical sensations on your body that you were aware of?
No.
Heat, cold, sweat,
No.
tingle,
None of that.
the feel of the floor under your boots, the weight of the weapon in your hand, any of that?
No.
What do you make of at least your memory today is that you didn't feel it? What do you make of that? It was a pretty important event.
Right. So I didn't remember every detail.
What you're sort of saying is that in terms of some things you don't remember any details.
Yeah, it was kind of blocked out.
Do you think it's been blocked?
Blocked
And
out then.
I don't know the answer to this either. Do you think it's been blocked since the event, or do you think it was blocked during the event and you weren't perceiving anything at that time? What do you think?
During the event.
Okay. You've dropped the shotgun. You're using the AR. Are you moving around? Are you standing still? What?
I'm basically in that corner the whole time, except for once I go into the light, which is later. The lighted hallway.
Move me through up to that point, can you? What gets us to that?
There's the emergency exit, and I go in, and it's in the corner, and I shoot people from the corner.
Emergency exit down low, their exit outside or an exit at the back of the theater?
The emergency exit is at the back of the theater.
I'm not picturing it quite. There's an emergency exit down by the screen.
Which is at the back of the theater.
Okay. Is there also an exit behind the seats up
No,
in the direction of the seats?
there's two corridors or aisleways
Okay.
besides the seats, and they go to the front door of the theater.
The ordinary doors that would lead out of the
Double
theater.
doors, yeah.
At any point did you go to those doors?
No, I went halfway down the aisleway.
About halfway to the doors. On which side?
Well, coming from in through the emergency exit on the left side.
Okay. Tell me about that walk and what you were doing as you walked there.
I was checking the weapon, and I discharged the magazine that had misfired, and was trying to put a new one in, but they wouldn't go inside they wouldn't click in there.
Okay. So as you were, what was your purpose of walking up that aisle?
To be able to see, because I couldn't see very well in the corner. And it was a safer spot to reload.
Was it a better lit? Is that one of the things you're saying?
Yes, the aisleways are lit all the
Okay.
kind of,
And a safer spot to reload.
right, so because they couldn't see me in there.
So this wasn't along seats. This was in some way that the seats
It
could...
was like, this is the aisleway, and the seats would go up, and it goes down.
And you went down. So what happened? The magazines wouldn't click into the AR.
Right.
Then what happened?
Then I walked out. I think before I went into the aisleway, I shot some with the handgun, but I don't remember shooting the handgun.
Okay. Before you went into the aisleway. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't remember shooting it, but you think you probably shot some people with the handgun.
Well, I've known afterwards, because it got revealed by lawyers in court, that I shot the handgun.
Okay. The shooting that you did any of it occur any place other than down near the screen where you came in from the outside door?
No, it was all in that one corner.
Did you walk up the aisles at all and look down the aisles to see if there was anybody behind seats or anything like
No,
that?
I didn't walk up into the stands.
Okay. What else about being in there? It happened, or did you feel or experience or sense?
There wasn't anything else.
Remember muzzle flash?
No.
Okay. Had you practiced the process of changing the weapons, emptying the shotgun, dropping it, starting with the AR? Had you practiced that before?
Not dropping the shotgun or anything, but yeah, inserting the magazines and reloading, I practiced that.
Okay. Why do you suppose the reloading was so difficult this time with the AR?
It didn't work, I guess. I think the main reason why was because it was so dark that it was hard to see.
Okay. They're shaped a certain way so that they can only go in one way.
Right, yeah.
And you were aware of that. You were putting them
They're
in.
curved.
Right. So you put them in with the curve the right direction.
Right.
Forward.
Yeah.
Okay. I mentioned this when we were talking about the range. My understanding of those magazines is that they need not to be completely filled in order to minimize the chance of a jam.
I didn't know that.
Okay. You've got the music on. You're not aware right now of having heard anything. Was there any outward indication of how people were feeling or reacting to what you were doing?
No, when I was walking back from the aisleway, I turned and looked at the stands and they were completely empty, except for like the first row where people were ducking down.
Do you think they knew that you had walked back up that aisleway and that's why they were ducking down, or am I missing it?
I think they'd previously been ducking down and were still ducking down while I returned.
So what do people feel when there's someone in the front right corner of the theater shooting loud weapons and screams being heard, things like that?
What's the question?
What do people feel when they're experiencing that?
Terror, I would say.
Okay. Can you expand on terror?
Well, they'd be very afraid and kind of unbelieving that could be happening at the moment.
do people feel when someone near them gets shot?
That there needs to be help coming.
What do they feel when they get shot?
Shock.
Anything else?
Just reaching out for help.
I think we've been over this a little bit, but have you ever been seriously injured?
No.
Certainly not shot.
Right.
Okay. Do you remember what it felt like to pull triggers?
No, I had gloves on.
Oh, you did? Okay. Had you practiced with the gloves?
Yeah, at the gun range, I put the gloves on as well.
The gloves have a light trigger finger, less material on the finger, on the index
I think
finger.
it was like neoprene material or something.
Okay. What do you suppose the people heard? They didn't have earbuds in. What did they hear?
Yelling and screaming. And I think the fire alarm or the emergency alarm went off. And it was making noise.
I'm sorry.
It was probably making noise too,
Okay.
but I didn't hear it.
You didn't. What about the light in the theater? How light was it?
It was dark.
Okay. Do you recall how long the movie continued to play, or did it continue to play the whole
It
time?
continued to play the whole time I was there.
Okay. Can you picture yourself in your mind now in front of that screen with the movie playing in the background and you in the foreground? Like a shadow, I guess, with guns blazing?
I can't see me firing. I can see me at that location though.
What do you make of, I don't understand, you can't see yourself firing, but you can see yourself at the location.
Right.
What do you mean?
Pointing the weapon.
Is there a reason that you can't see yourself firing?
That's just what I couldn't see at the moment right now.
I'm sorry?
That's just what I couldn't see right now.
Can you cause yourself to see that? See yourself firing?
Yes.
What do you see?
Bullets going towards seats.
Okay. Bullets going towards seats. What else?
That's it.
Are the bullets going toward anything else besides seats?
No.
People?
All the people are hiding behind the seats.
About 65 or 70 of them obviously went toward people, didn't they?
So, yeah, I assume it went through the seats and hit them.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
How many folks do you suppose were hit directly, and how many the bullets went through the seats and hit them?
Maybe like 4 or 5 directly, and then the rest were behind the seat hits.
Really? Okay.
But I can't remember seeing it.
Okay. The shotgun. You were shooting BB shot.
Yeah.
Do you think that would go through a theater sheet? A theater seat?
I fired that one first, so that was the 4 or 5, which were kind of at people.
Okay. The AR, the loads that you had, would they go through theater seats?
I don't know, I didn't test it. It would be pretty hard to test it.
Did you plan for it to go through seats?
I I thought they would go 2 seats because they're rifle round.
Was that part of the assumption for getting people killed? Or no, I don't mean to put words in your mouth.
I'm not sure what the question is. What's the assumption that...
You wanted to kill people.
Right.
As you were planning to do it in this way, was the plan generally that you would be killing at least some of them by shooting through theater seats? Or was that not particularly a thought beforehand?
That didn't come around beforehand.
Okay. How did you think they would be killed beforehand?
Sitting in their seats.
Thinking about it beforehand, did you think that some people would be running or hunkering down?
Yes. That's why I left an exit route available so they don't fight. They can escape by running down the right aisleway.
Okay. And what would happen then if they're running down the right aisleway?
Well, I wound up shooting at them, but only a few tried it.
But what you just said is that part of the plan was that they would run down the exit aisleway to be shot.
To escape.
But the plan was that you would shoot them while they were running down the aisleway, or do I misunderstand?
No, the plan was to contain them so they wouldn't start running. But I left that aisleway because I was kind of blocking the left aisleway and the emergency exit. So the only exit would be that right aisleway.
So why did you leave them that exit?
Because it was far away from me. And they wouldn't attack me, come down and run and attack me.
So the thought was they would go there rather than attack you.
Right, they'd run away.
Kind of a pressure valve, I guess.
Yeah, pressure release valve. Let them go
Those,
down that way.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Let them go down that way so they don't attack where I am at.
Okay. Those that did run that way, did you shoot at them or no?
Yeah.
Hit some of them?
No, I don't believe so.
As far as
I
you
think there were 3 shots though that went through the wall and into Theater 8.
Okay. Were you trying to?
I didn't know it would do that.
Were you trying to shoot them?
Yes, I was aiming at them.
Okay. The question in my mind, I guess, and I think you've answered it, but maybe not. In one scenario, you create a chute in which people go so that you can killing them. It becomes, in a sense, a killing field. In the other scenario, which you just explained, you create a pressure valve to protect yourself from being overrun.
Right, I didn't create a killing chute.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Thanks for clarifying. Okay. You remember the reloading, you remember the jamming, but you don't remember any noises over the music.
After the scream,
After the scream. You don't remember any particular feelings, I'm talking about physical feelings, one way or another, of heat or cold or sweat or
no.
movement or tingling or pressure or pain?
Nope.
Okay. Was there any reasonable probability that someone you knew would be in the theater?
No.
And why do you say that?
Because the probability is very, very low. They could have gone to another theater around Stapleton. They would have had to go into the premiere, and they'd have to have been in Theater 9 instead of Theater 8 or Theater 10.
Was this a theater that folks near you, folks from the campus, frequently went to, or was it pretty much out of the way for them, not a common
No,
theater
it
to go to?
was close enough that they could have gone to.
Did you go to the movies very much? Or? I know you watched a lot of Netflix. Did you go out to movies very much?
when I was taking reconnaissance.
Other times, did you go to theaters by yourself or with friends to see movies?
Sometimes, yeah.
Ever accidentally see anybody you knew there?
No, I'd usually go with somebody that I knew there.
Ever accidentally see someone in the theater or around the concession stand that you happen to know?
No.
Okay. When it was over, when your shooting was over, how many people do you think did you think you had hit?
I think I hit maybe 20 people and maybe killed only 3 people.
Sorry.
I wasn't sure I'd actually killed anybody at that time until they said there were people deceased over the police radios.
But at the time that you finished shooting and left the building,
Yeah,
I know that you didn't know for sure, but your impression was
somebody's probably died.
roughly 20 and 3.
Yeah.
There's a phrase, kill ratio. How many rounds did you shoot?
Well, I wasn't counting at the time.
Roughly how many rounds did you shoot?
They said in court, I think, 50 or 60 rounds.
Okay. How many did you think you shot? What was the impression that you had at the time?
Well, I know that I shot all the shotgun rounds. I don't know how many of the AR-15 rounds I shot. I thought maybe only like 15.
The clips are 30 or 31 shells, right? Or I could be wrong about that.
The clips I had were, I believe, 40 or 45.
Okay.
And I had one snail loader magazine clip that was 100, which was the one I was shooting off at the start.
Okay. Did that one jam or did you exhaust it?
That was the one that jammed.
Okay. And the handgun rounds?
I think I shot maybe 10.
So as you were going out, your thought of what had just happened would have been that you had shot roughly how many rounds?
I wasn't thinking about that at the time.
Okay.
I was thinking about police presence.
Okay. There are lots of things that I know that I missed asking about with that. Is there anything else about the experience inside the theater that sticks in your mind that you remember vividly?
This one guy in the front row was smiling. I thought it was kind of odd that he'd be smiling.
At what point was he smiling? When did you see
This
him?
was when I was going to leave, going towards the exit, and just looked back and saw that he was smiling.
What do you make of that?
I think it's probably a stress reaction that he did.
As far as you know, did he look alive?
Yeah, he was alive and moving a little bit.
Okay. Can you theorize about that? Just kind of blue sky, let your mind wander about that guy? What was going on with that guy?
I wonder why he had that reaction.
What might it have been? Just, we'll probably never know, but what might it have been if you were to spin out a story about that guy? You look back and here's a guy smiling.
And it was probably a nervous or anxious smile.
Did you have any feelings about it when you looked back?
No.
Any thoughts about it?
No.
Any thought of shooting him or leaving more quickly or being afraid of him or anything like that?
No, nothing.
Did you have any usable rounds, any usable weapons when you left? Or was everything either empty or jammed?
The handgun, I had probably 100 to 200 rounds maybe left.
In your
And
jacket?
that wasn't jammed, yeah, in my belt and
In your belt?
in the ballistic vest. There were also a couple.
The clip that was in the weapon, was it emptied as far as you recall?
It wasn't emptied. No.
So you could have kept shooting.
Yes.
Why do you suppose you didn't?
I wanted to fix the AR-15.
Okay. Is that why you were leaving at the time? Was to go out and fix the AR?
I don't remember if that's the reason why I left or if I just left because I was done shooting.
And I'm interested in that. You just said you wanted to fix the AR, and I kind of interrupted you.
That's kind of why I went to the light in the aisleway.
Okay. But then at some point, fairly soon, or no, you went back down and out the back exit.
Once I couldn't fix it, I kind of left. And then I tossed down the AR-15 outside.
And you said it yesterday as well, that your leaving may have been just that you were done.
Yeah, I guess I shot enough rounds or whatever.
You go outside, you go through that door. Has anyone else gone through the door in front of you?
Yes, there were the 4 people carrying the one wounded guy. They carried him pretty far away from the back exit.
So what do you see and what happens as you're going out through the very back exit?
I see a car parked along the road. It looks like a police car with their headlights on. So I kind of figured the police were already there. So I went back towards my car and opened the door. And then I saw 2 more police kind of towards the left.
Okay. As you went to your car, did you see anything on the ground or anything around you? Was there anything?
There were some small blood smears.
Okay. At what point did you take off your gas mask?
The officers removed those.
So at the point we're now talking about, you're going out towards your car, you still have the gas mask on?
Correct.
So you're towards your car, there are a couple of officers, the way you indicated they were on your left?
Yeah, towards the emergency exit of Theater 8.
Okay. And what are you doing at this particular point? You open the door to your car, you said?
And then I just stand there and watch them.
Okay. When you open your car door, did the dome light come on?
The what light?
The light inside the car, when you open a car door, a light comes on usually.
Right.
Usually.
I don't remember if it did or not.
Do you remember fixing it so that it wouldn't or not?
What do you mean fixing it?
You can usually make it so that when you open the car door, the light comes on, or make it so that when you open the car door, it doesn't come on.
I don't remember.
Oh. Okay. So you open the door and you're standing there. What happens then?
I take off my belt and put the handgun on the top of the car. And then the police officers come towards me and I put my hands up and surrender.
Did you put your hands up before they told you to or asked you to?
Before, yeah.
Okay. What were you thinking then? What was your thought? What was your feeling
They
then?
wouldn't shoot me because I was surrendering.
Why did you think they wouldn't shoot you?
Because I had made a surrendering motion.
If anyone in the theater had made a surrendering motion, would you have shot that person?
I don't know, and I don't know if any of them did or not.
Okay. And it's a hypothetical situation,
Yeah.
but you describe yourself when you're on the, let's say, victim end of expecting not to be shot.
I didn't know if I would be shot or not.
Okay, fair enough. So you put your arms up, what happens then?
Then they tell me to show the hands. So I take my gloves off and show the hands. And then get down on the ground. And then they handcuff me on the back.
Did they handle you pretty roughly or not? Or how did that go?
It didn't seem that rough. It seemed like they were just doing their job.
We've talked a little about the effect of the shooting on people in the auditorium who are hit or who have people near them who are hit. We talked a little yesterday about the effect on the families of the people who were hit. What about the effect on the community? What do you think the effect on the community has been?
I think it made the community more tightly knit.
Made the community more tightly knit? Anything else?
No.
Okay. Before the event, before you got there, was there any plan to affect the community in some way, as well as to affect the people in the theater?
No, I wasn't considering the community.
Were you considering how you might be remembered?
No, I was just occupied with getting it done.
Okay. You made a notebook that has to do with how you'd be remembered, among other reasons.
Right.
You took selfies that had to do pretty specifically with how you'd be remembered.
Right. I don't think people were going to remember me for any other reason.
Is it important to you to be remembered? Let me rephrase that. At the time, was it important to James Holmes to be remembered?
I don't know if I came up with that at the time. Or if I analyzed what all the pictures were.
And analyzing is probably not what most folks would do anyway, but the behavior, the thing that you did, what you've said to me is that your reason for doing it was so you would be remembered in a certain way. So people would see the picture, for example, with the pictures, and infer certain things about James Holmes, and that's how that would affect how he was remembered. And I guess...
I think they remember me as a bad guy.
Did you anticipate that before the shooting, that they would remember you as a bad guy?
No, I don't remember bringing it up at all.
Let me come back to the kind of the point of my question earlier. Is it important to be remembered?
That depends on who you ask and what their beliefs are.
But I'm asking James
Is
Holmes.
it important to me?
Yes. And specifically, was it important for you to be remembered in the first half of 2012?
I'd say yes.
Tell me about being remembered and how you thought about or may have thought about being remembered in April, May, June, July of 2012.
I don't know how to answer that.
How'd you want to be remembered?
I don't remember that being a reason at the time.
A reason for what?
A reason for doing the shooting was to be remembered. I don't remember that. at the time of the shooting, that being a factor coming into play.
Okay. But it had to do with the selfies, or at least considering sending the selfies to the New York Times. I know you didn't do it, but the consideration of sending it.
It's kind of a reason behind why I did that what didn't surface consciously.
How, at that time, do you think you would have wanted to be remembered?
It didn't come up.
But thinking about it now, thinking about what James was like, 2011, 2012, if I had asked you then, how do you want to be remembered, James? What do you suppose would have come to
As
mind?
a good person.
Okay. What else?
For my achievements,
Achievements like?
like successful graduate degree, good in high school, that kind of thing.
As you moved toward the mission, and the mission becomes a bigger and bigger part of your life over months, or weeks anyway, do you see any difference in the way you might want to be remembered, or the way you're going to end up being remembered?
Yeah, I would be remembered in a poor light.
Poor light is one adjective, I guess, or adverb, whatever it is. How about some others? Some other descriptors of how you end up being remembered?
As mentally ill, or different from the norm.
How else?
Being successful with the mission. I don't know.
How else?
I don't think there were any other ones.
Before the mission, I think you used the word successful, but maybe you didn't use that word, about, for example, a neuroscience profession, perhaps,
Right.
or your work in undergraduate school. Then you use the word successful with regard to the mission.
So I accomplished what I set out to do.
Okay. At the time, just after the shooting, you thought maybe you had hit 20 people and killed 3, you weren't sure.
Right.
Would that have been a success?
3 or more, in my view, would have been a success.
12?
Successful.
Where on the scale of little success to really big success? Where does-
Moderate.
Moderate success. How about the 50 some odd people who were injured?
Collateral damage.
So does that come under the success column or not?
It doesn't play a factor.
Does it detract from the success?
No.
Is there any level of collateral damage that would detract from the success of 12 kills?
Oh, no.
1,000 wounded.
I'd only count the kills.
Okay. The collateral damage of damaged families, things that we talked about in the last couple of days,
Right.
losing a parent, things like that.
Never came under consideration.
How about now? Does it count against the kills?
No.
A slightly different question. Does it matter?
Does what matter?
All the collateral damage.
Yes.
How does it matter?
Well, people were maimed and wounded and injured.
Yeah, we know that part. How does it matter to you? To you?
Well, it's not good.
In what way?
In that they had to be injured for me to kill the other people.
Yeah, we know that they were injured for you to kill the other people. I'm asking you how it matters to you, if it does. You said it matters. Doesn't matter in terms of detracting from the kills.
Right.
But you say it matters in some other way, or ways.
Right, because if I put my shoes into their situation, I wouldn't want to have that happen to me.
If you could have killed 12 people without the injuries and the family damage and things like that,
Then if I had that choice versus another choice with the wounded, I would choose the one with less wounded.
you would have chosen the one with less collateral damage.
Yes.
Okay. Do you suppose if you'd set your head to it, you could have killed 12 people without the collateral damage?
Not easily.
Was this mission easy?
No, it took a lot of planning.
Yes, it did. Time, planning, danger for you?
Resources. Yeah.
Okay. What do you suppose the time, planning, and resources to kill 12 people without the collateral damage would have taken, more or less?
It would have taken more time, more resources.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't think you could have killed 12 people in less time with fewer resources than you expended with the mission?
Then I would have needed to execute the people, go up to them and shoot them in the head or something. And I can't do that for whatever reason.
You can't do that, what?
I can't do that for whatever reason.
What are the whatever?
Because it makes it too personal.
Some of the people in the theater were pretty close.
Yeah, I didn't know them. I didn't see who I was
You
shooting.
wouldn't have known the people on the street if that's where you would choose to execute them.
Right, but I would be executing individuals instead of a crowd.
You weren't executing individuals in the theater?
No, I was aiming at the crowd.
Can you think of any other plan in which you might have been able to isolate 12 people without getting personal and avoid injuring 50 some odd people and etc.?
I don't have a plan for that off the top.
Do you think you could create one?
Yeah, I guess it would take a long time though.
You took a long time with this plan.
Right.
Okay. The alternatives that you looked at for this plan, the ones you looked at, some of them would have involved more kills, or would likely have involved more kills.
What would have involved more kills?
The various alternatives that are written out in your notebook
Okay.
that you eliminated as you moved toward this particular mission.
They could have it involve more kills. It's possible.
And as you were anticipating the mission, it sounds like you said 3 kills would have made it worthwhile.
At least.
At least 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Were there any other intended or unintended effects of the mission, the actual shooting and event in the theater? Anything else relevant or important that was intended or unintended that you can think of?
No.
Damage to the theater?
I'd say that's minor when compared to wounding people and killing people.
How about the effect of your being arrested?
It prevents me from killing other people.
Tell me about that. Is that a good effect or a bad effect or a neutral effect or a planned effect?
It's just the result.
Intentional or unintentional?
It was not my intentions to be locked up, no.
Really? What did you think the chances were of you not being locked up?
Very slim. So I knew I was going to be locked up, but that doesn't mean I wanted to be locked up.
That kind of begs the question, so why did you do something that would make it virtually certain you'd be locked up or killed?
That's just the price you have to pay for completing the mission.
And the benefit of completing the mission is?
Increasing my self-worth.
As I think about it in my simple mind, I think sometimes missions are done to get something, such as to increase self-worth, as in your case, the way you view it. Other times, people do things defensively to prevent themselves from being killed or hurt or to stop something.
Okay. I don't think I came in with that reasoning during the time.
Okay. Let's talk a little about the arrest. You've never been arrested before. What was it like being arrested?
Pretty much what you see on TV, kind of.
But what was it personally like for you?
It was everything I expected it would be.
And what is that?
Just routine.
No. What was your personal experience with being arrested?
I had never been arrested before.
You're not answering the question. Is there a
I
reason
don't
you're not?
understand the question.
No, it's a real simple question. What was your personal experience? How did it feel? What did you experience in the process of being arrested?
I didn't have any feelings
Really?
about it, no.
Try again.
I just kind of felt it was something that was going to be done.
You're having trouble talking about the feelings of being arrested.
I didn't have any feelings.
As if either it didn't matter, it really at that time to you didn't make any more difference than being served a cup of coffee, or the feelings are somewhere and you're not able to get to them, or the feelings are there and you're not sharing them.
It's not the last one.
Okay. Is it the first one that it had no more effect on you at the time?
It's not every day you get arrested.
Right.
Right.
That's why I'm asking you, what does it feel like to get arrested?
How long do you propose the arrested? Is it like before you get admitted to jail, or
Go ahead. You go
up
ahead.
until the patrol car?
You go ahead.
It was just expected that they handcuffed me and put me in the back of the patrol car. There were no surprises.
What did it feel like to have the handcuffs close around your wrists?
They were pretty tight, so it hurt.
There's a feeling. There's an experience. Tell me more about that experience from the time the officers put the handcuffs on.
Well, it was uncomfortable. You kind of have to submit to their authority. That's about it.
Are you accustomed to submitting to other people's authority or not?
Yeah, you work for your boss, your advisor, your professors.
These were people who weren't the usual people that you, quote, submit to.
Right, and it was physical submission instead of mental submission.
Do you remember the trip to the lockup, to the Aurora Police Department?
Yeah, they drove me over. There was only one guy in the car. There were flashing lights all around.
One guy in the car, the driver?
Yeah,
You're in the back seat?
so I guess there's two guys in the car.
No, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to trick you there. But there wasn't a partner, there wasn't an accompanying
Right,
officer.
there was only the one.
You're in the back seat, handcuffed behind?
Yeah, behind the back.
Okay. How about your feet? Are they shackled?
No,
Okay. You get to the Aurora Police Department, and they do some in-processing for you. What's that like?
they take your fingerprints, they take your photo.
How did that feel to you? That's a new experience for you.
Well, before that was they take you to the interrogation room, and they left me there for hours and hours and hours.
Really? Before they even fingerprinted you and
Right.
did the photo?
Yeah.
What was it like in the interrogation room?
It's a windowless room with like a camera in the corner. There's not much to do. Nothing to do really.
And they just left you there? Was there anybody outside the door or anybody in the room?
Yeah, they had a guard sit inside the room and at the door too.
Okay. What'd you do while you were waiting?
I was fidgety and they put bags on my hands for GSR residue testing, I think.
Did you expect those pieces of the process of being arrested?
Yeah, just from watching like CSI.
Okay. So it sounds like you knew what the bags were in general intended for.
I thought they looked like popcorn bags at the time. So, like they were going to microwave my hands or something.
What's it like to have your hands inside bags? I assume taped at the wrist or something like that.
Well, you can't scratch an itch or anything.
You mentioned that there was nothing to do, and I'm not sure you used the word boring, but you.
Yeah. Kathy. I'm going to turn the lights on. Members of the jury, it's almost 3. Let's go ahead and take a break. I changed my mind. Let's take our afternoon break. Please keep in mind my advisements during the break. And then when you come back, we'll finish the publishing of this exhibit. I'll see you in 20 minutes. Thank you. Please be seated, everyone. The record should reflect that the jury has exited the courtroom. Mr. Brockler?
Your Honor, thank you. As I'm going through this transcript, I feel like up to this point, we've been doing a great job adhering to the court's order on redactions. As I'm reading ahead, I got to a point that I had a concern about because it's possible that the court ruled that it didn't need to be redacted, but it was of such a nature, and right after the section where we stopped this, that I wanted to make sure with the court and with counsel, because I don't want anything not going to the jury, or anything going to the jury that should not. Does the court want me to specifically reference that part, or just take our time to go back through the court's order and confirm?
Why don't you two confer, if you can, and then I'll take a shorter break than the jury, and I'll come back out, and then we can chat, and you can tell me if there's a problem or not.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay? All right, the court will be in recess. Thank you.